Okay. A lot of people assume that trauma happens in extreme situations only. But so many people carry untreated wounds that shape their choices, relationships, futures in ways that nobody talks about. Here's a quote by David Reeves: "Addiction is the only prison where the locks are inside." I want to talk about how trauma has influenced my life, not only changed it mentally, physically, and emotionally, but alongside of that is growth. This might be sensitive to some of you, so I'm going to apologize now. Um, Trauma often feels addiction, but with love, support, and understanding, recovery is possible. I want to share experience with trauma and how I got involved in situations I should have never been put in. Trauma can happen to anyone at any age. When I was in high school, I got the news that my mom had committed a crime that would put her away for life. She ended up taking somebody's life, and that was really hard. I felt like I lost my mom, my best friend, you know, somebody who cared deeply about me. And that was hard. You know, how do you compare something like that? How do you accept it? I didn't, right? I did not. I still don't want to accept it at times. And so the trauma. Let's continue the trauma train, will we? After dealing with my mom, I thought I'd find love. I thought that would solve all my problems. I met a guy, fell in love. 8 months later, got married because I was told that if you love each other, you'll get married. And so we did just that. We were married. We were together for 8 months, got married. We moved to Salt Lake from St. George, Utah, and he ended up cheating on me. Again, my whole life crashed, you know, after dealing with my mom and him. It was hard, you know, but how do you come back from that? I didn't. Again, I didn't. So let's talk about how untreated trauma can lead into addiction and how it's hard to break. Addiction often finds a way to make trauma easier to deal with. Addiction doesn't start because of losing anything sounds fun or enjoying, but undealt trauma gets you a way of finding that something that masks your feelings. And I found myself hanging out with people who used. I swore my entire life I'd never end up using. Well, never say never, because things can happen. I lied to my family. I lied to myself. I didn't feel loved or wanted or not enough. I felt like everything would be okay. I didn't have to deal with the pain of my mom or my ex-husband. Instead, I numbed those things, hid from dealing with reality. Using was never the solution, but it made intensive thoughts disappear until I was ready for recovery. And willing to face the thoughts and bad actions. Now, this is my favorite part: recovery. After a few years of hiding my pain, I knew it was time to deal with the trauma. Addiction was never the plan. I got pregnant in active addiction. I was 16 weeks and 5 days when I found out. March 21st of 2017, I knew I had to make a choice. Either continue to use, face reality, or, not. I chose to get clean. May 5th, 2017, a month after I found out, I got clean. I was able to start my healing journey and move forward. I had a lot of support, guidance. In conclusion, untreated trauma leads to addiction, but with support, love, and guidance, you can find a way out. I like to end with a quote: "Remember that just because you hit rock bottom doesn't mean you have to stay there." Robert Downey Jr. This reminds us that recovery is possible.